What's happening, my friends? We're back inside the building once again here on Trickstar Radio. Welcome back to Breakfast with KXVU. We're in the building from 7 till 10, Monday to Friday, but right about now, we are jumping into the 9 o'clock interview hour, and I am so excited to get into this interview. It's one I've been haggling for a hot minute, and it's one I'm really happy we've finally been able to get to happen live here on the show. Someone who, within the garage scene, is absolutely smashing it. Someone whose unique sounds and blends are really, really taking things to the next level. We have a man like Tuff Culture in the building. How are you doing, sir?
Yes, how you doing, Matthew? All right.
I'm great, mate. I'm great. It's awesome to have you on the line. Obviously, following on from this brand new EP launch, which we've been smashing here on the show. It's great to get you on, and I can't wait to dive into some conversation about sort of like the background of your sort of garage roots and things like that. So we'll start off there, kind of turning the clock back a little bit. With the sort of garage sound, obviously there's been this big resurgence, I'd say, over the last sort of 3, 4, 5 years or so. When did that production journey start for you?
It started for me quite a while back. I've always been into garage. Always had an influence from the early years, from like Mac Jam Lamont, Todd Edwards and everything. So I started developing a garage sound from quite early. However, I obviously swayed into different things. So I went into bass, but always had my garage roots and stuff like that, if you know what I'm saying.
Of course.
Then the garage sound for me probably started about, say, 4 or 5 years ago when I said, right, that's it, I really want to get into garage, get my own sound developing and just see where I can go from there.
Awesome, man. So, I mean, with that then, obviously you said that you've kind of dipped into other genres and stuff, and I feel a lot of the sort of sounds that we are hearing now, especially in sort of underground UK dance music, so many of them have like a close link to that sort of original kind of garage sound. Did you find that transition quite an easy process?
For me, because I've had the opportunity to listen to it from earlier on and now, I can appreciate, like, you've got the people who do like the older style and you've got the people who like the new style that's coming through, and I always like to reference between the two, like give a little blend, especially in my productions anyway. I feel like I've kind of nailed down how to get the blend between the old school kind of sound with the new school cross, and I think that, as you said, with other elements that's coming between, so you got bass that came in, and obviously bass house, just house in general. You can hear the mixture of sounds that's coming through and producing what's kind of the new sound that is today.
Definitely, mate. No, 100%. And I completely agree on that idea of it being, of finding that blend between almost the nostalgia and the new school. I feel is like there's this golden point where you can kind of get those sort of original nostalgic sounds that get people's ears kind of poking up, and then you've kind of hit them with the more sort of new school rhythmic approaches and obviously the new school production techniques. Did it take you long to find that golden point? Because I feel, especially on this brand new EP, that's so much, like, you seem to hit it so often.
It took me a while, because you always have an idea whereby you think, all right, I like old school and I like new school. How do I get the perfect match between the two? So I tried a load of ideas. I'd like if I go into my door, the unfinished ideas from like 2015, whereby I've been trying stuff, and then it ain't quite worked. And I feel that the reason why I have now is because I feel my beats are quite tough, but the ideas in the bass and stuff like that are quite new. So I think that kind of marries the two quite well.
Definitely. No, I completely agree, man. And I think kind of listening through the EP, I was lucky enough to do a couple of reviews for it for Juno Download and stuff, and it was one of the ones that I heard and was just blown away by quite instantaneously, purely because of that kind of perfect blend, that perfect point. How long was this EP on Garage Shed in the works? Because it's a spicy one. Yeah,
this one was... I wanted to make a different project this time. Normally my Elements EPs is all about dance-orientated stuff, so very bass-driven, very club-orientated, basically. This time, I wanted to make where it was how can I put it? Where it was just streamed on all platforms, so you could be in your car, you could be out in your garden, you could be wherever you are, club environment if need be. And for this, I think it started off with the SG project because I wanted that to kick off the whole thing. And then me and SG was working on that tune for a couple of months now. So I'd say this project's been working on For about last year, December, definitely I would say that, yeah, definitely.
Okay, cool. I mean, something I've always found interesting about this kind of Element series is it's not a project you've kind of stuck to one label on. It's a project you've kind of taken with you around different places. Like, how do you find almost adding to the legacy of what that project has now become when you kind of take it to different places and different areas?
That's the thing. You always want to keep Elements. Well, I always want to keep Elements as spicy, as you say, and as creative as possible. So when I go anywhere with anything, or if I approach an idea with anything, I always think that it's got to be innovative to that label, and also something to me whereby it pushes my sound as well. So the aspect of transitioning from label to label is the fact that I have to grow the sound myself as well. As you can hear from all the elements, all the sounds have grown on. It's never been a stagnant thing. So you might hear the first Elements is more about bass music, and then as it's transitioned through, it's carried on with the sound that I've grew up with as well. So you'll hear like garage, you'll hear a bit of jungle influences, you'll hear everything, but everything is in that scope of Elements.
Definitely. No, it's an awesome thing to kind of watch. Like I've had a little look through the Juno download page where we can see all of them in order, and seeing the kind of transition of sound over the years, it's been such a kind of natural progression, but also a very kind of you can kind of tell there's a real sense of direction with that progression, and it's awesome to see. I love seeing projects that like have a kind of purpose to them, have a kind of story behind them. So seeing this sort of thing always makes me really happy. And what we're going to do, we are going to move forward slightly. Kind of talking about this EP. I want to talk about this tune, Them Days, because we've been smashing this tune on playlist. It's one of the tunes that I heard and instantaneously kind of I got that throwback feeling, which was obviously the kind of theme of the tune. But like, just talk to me about how this one came together and the sort of writing process. Like, how did it work?
So I know SG anyway, and I had a project, and I said we need to do a tune whereby they and everyone else remembers them days, as in what was you doing on them days, like what did you have, what was you listening to, what was you doing in general. And with that in mind, we went away, and I wanted to create a tune whereby it was absolutely, because I don't do many tunes like that, to be fair, as you probably know. I normally do like straight bass heavy tunes, fourth to the floor and everything, but I thought this time, no, I want to do something where it tells a story from start to finish. What we did when we was younger, the Rockport theme, and Calvin Klein, everything else like that, and the Walkman and stuff like that, everything else was thrown in there, and I wanted that idea to come across and like be almost a nostalgic tune just from the jump.
Entirely, mate, and that's definitely something that really, really has been achieved with it. As I was saying, it's one of those tunes I'd put into like a category with like sort of 5 or 6 other tunes that I've heard ever, which instantaneously do take me back to like a younger version of myself. It has that almost like dreamy sort of throwback texture to it, and obviously SG absolutely kills it on the vocal as well. Like, did you kind of sit down together when you were putting the sort of vocal side of it together, or was it a case of you gave him the instrumental and then he came back with the verse?
This is where this is actually quite funny, because when we had the scope for the story of the project, SG went away and done his verse and come back to me, and I had to listen to it a couple of times. I was actually quite gobsmacked at how the energy and how it just fitted with the whole concept of what I was trying to portray. So he had this concept whereby I want to talk about Rockport, stuff like that. I was like, wow, all right, then you carry on. Then when you give me the, I was like, when you give me the verse back and I put it over the tune, then the second verse was actually done live. That was actually done together, like, you know, and everything. But he wrote it all himself. The actual flow of the verses, what he'd done, and everything else like that. Yeah, I think that was superb. Put the track right on its element, and and then just the chorus bit is just like a sample, whereby I wanted to make it a bit more of a catchy theme.
100%.
So all that brought together, there's the tune right there, Them Days.
There we go. Yeah, I mean, as I said, this is one that I've been like, you know when you get a proper earworm of a tune and you walk around your house and you just find yourself kind of singing the hook to it, and that's literally that's literally what I've been doing with this tune. So it's great. This is why it's so interesting to talk about, and that production process behind it. Well, we're going to jump into it now. Before we do that, though, what are the best social media locations for people to get hold of you at?
Everything is Tuff Culture. So if you want to get hold of me on Twitter, it's Tuff Culture. TuffCulture. Same with any socials, Facebook, Instagram, anything. Type in Tuff Culture and I'm there.
Amazing stuff. We're going to get into this one now then. This one goes by the name of Them Days. Tuff Culture and SG. Tuff Culture joins us this morning. We're live on The Breakfast Show. Don't go anywhere.
This is Breakfast with KXVU, bringing you them morning flavours on Trickstar Radio.
Trickstar Radio.